Go. Here we go. Okay. Welcome everybody to She's of Love. We are so excited for this episode because we have the one and only Kim Martin on to talk with us about the Matrix and kind of how to escape it. And just, I think we're just going to dive into the whole subject of what the Matrix is.
And how to
Um,
escape it.
I already,
Oh, did you?
The best part, how to
I'm too
escape it.
busy looking at myself.
As you should, you're beautiful.
So we're super excited because last time we had Kim on, it was just such a magical episode. And I
I
don't know,
loved
you
it.
just yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
you carry such wisdom and we're just so excited to sit in here and listen. I've got my coffee. I'm ready to just you know, hear you talk. So
And I remember from last time, Kim, the story you told us about your brother and the pickledy. Like he said
Oh,
to a
I forgot I
pickledy.
told you that.
Yes, and I do that now. When there's something that doesn't make sense, I
It's
think, oh,
just
that's
piggledy
pickledy.
of it. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
7-year-olds and 5-year-olds come up with to explain the unexplainable. I think that's a pretty good word.
Yes, and I love that because it is so true and
mm,
and it fits perfectly. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, you need a lot of silliness and fun in your life, and yeah, because there's too much seriousness and all that kind of thing. So yeah, injecting fun and whatever you can do to keep your mood up is absolutely vital right now.
Yeah, I agree completely. And actually,
Mm.
my last conversation last week was all about that. It was about finding the humor in things, and my friend who I was speaking to, she was hilarious, and so injecting that kind of humor into life and into things that are serious, I think is um, it enables us to swallow bitter pills.
mm.
Absolutely. It's yes. And if you can do things, anything in laughter and lightness, especially any healing work or, you know, especially, yeah, the seriousness of the world, you have to be able to make light of things. It makes everything more digestible, just your days better, your interactions better. Like you just feel alive. Like I had some friends over last night, and I haven't had some girlfriends over for a while because I've been in Australia, for over a month, and the weather's getting warmer, and we just laughed and shared wisdom. And I actually wrote a lot of notes too, because between the four of us, there was so much great banter and back and forth and sharing of life's journeys and how we all what we're doing to navigate it, because everyone's a healer or coach type person, and it was just fascinating. And I thought, I'm not going to let this go to waste. So I was writing down so much of it, and then we put music on and danced, and we just said, oh, we should do 10 minutes of dancing. That was an hour later, and we had Pointer Sisters, so excited, and just craziness with MC hammering across the floor and laughing our butts off. And I just had the biggest smile like all day. Like that kind of thing is underrated. The energy and anything that can lift your frequency and that kind of thing, and getting people together and just being silly, not being serious, and just sharing life and having people who you can be real around is
Mm,
just like priceless.
I
Priceless, especially women together, especially like
yes.
it's great having groups of people together, but there's something that is just a different within groups, and women together, I don't know, can let go. It's like we recharge with other women. And it's
Yeah, I
just
agree
vital
with that.
that we do that, because we give of ourselves, as we know, the most. Women have a default to give and do everything for everyone else and their self last if they have any time. So, any way to kind of fill up and remembering to get together and don't let time go too far, and just have fun, and music and dance and anything like that. And you're never too old to dance, and don't think, oh, you're not in your 20s anymore or your teens and you can't go out and dance. Like, no, your house can be a dance floor.
I
Anybody can.
really I really feel that. I was just traveling New Zealand with two girls. And one of the first days that we had camping, we so the two other girls are from Canada and they love like country music and one of them in particular, she goes line dancing every week. And so she taught us how to line dance. And so we're just sitting out in front of the tent, in front of like a public campsite. It was like a family campsite. And we were all bored in the heat and just like, it was one of those off days that we didn't have anything to do. And it was our first ever day that we didn't have anything to do. So we just didn't know what to do with ourselves. And so she taught us how to line dance. And it was one of the funnest things I remember about the trip is just learning how to line dance out in the campsite and everyone just kind of like walking
It's
by and going,
infectious. They want to do what you're doing. And
yeah.
the simple things are the best things, like that simple fun. And people want to go, oh my God, there's an energy over there, and they're having fun and allowing themselves to be silly and not being so worried about what other people think and just having a
Yes.
good time. And they go, I want to be over there doing that.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, not worrying what other people think, that's contagious, because when you shed that kind of like feeling or that inhibition, other people are like, oh, I can be real with them. I can just let my hair down with them. And that's
Yep.
what I need right now. I want to have fun. And then that's what they're attracted to. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And if you take silliness to the top level, which I often do, and I'm always the first to dance and stuff, the bar is already high. So even if they just do a little kind of something, they won't feel intimidated because I'm already being the crazy one.
Yes, I
I
love
don't
that.
mind. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the power of being silly is just I think it's a superpower, honestly. Like
It is such a superpower. It is
Mm.
such a
yes.
superpower because it makes you feel, and it's simple to do too. Anything that make you feel alive and young and invigorated and just ignites that joy in you.
Yeah.
Once that's all around you and it's infectious around you, all of the fear talk and all of the terrible things or people's dramas, it kind of deflects off because you're just in this bubble of awesomeness. And then if you can keep that up, like put your music on when you make your dinner and just do things each day, it's so important, which is what I wanted to kind of discuss with, as we said, the matrix kind of thing. I've been thinking about it since we were going to do this presentation. I thought, what does the matrix mean to me? And how is kind of like a way to discuss it rather than this kind of woo-woo spacey thing. Of course, there's the movies and that kind of thing, and there's different talk and, all sorts of chatter about it. And I thought what kept resonating and coming to me was a Rumi quote, and you've probably all seen it, where there's a picture of a little old man, decrepit and wasting away in a jail, holding keys to his own cell.
Yeah.
And it's, we are the ones creating our own little matrix. And what I mean by that is just have a think for a minute. Most people are so consumed by stories, victimhood, blaming others, like they're just consumed each day, not present, worrying about everything. And they're literally in a self-imposed jail. And there's a real opportunity. And from, a lot of conversations I've had and, with David and different people, there seems to be at the moment a massive shift towards many conversations about actually focusing on yourself and actually dealing with those things. So, they're heightened for a reason because, there's an alchemy that can happen. Like for so many years, we've been literally feeding energy out, like we give it away, like wherever it goes, it's not to us and it's not to anything creative and it's not to anything that enhances us. Everything's designed for us to be living paycheck to paycheck, worrying about things, busy, we don't slow down, like health is an issue, don't have time to exercise, like all this crazy stuff. And we actually need to just go, stop. And you need to focus on yourself. And it's so important. And you got to get rid of the meme about selfishness. That's a stupid meme put on women, and it's so destructive. If you are like, they talk about the oxygen mask. If you don't put it on first, you're not going to survive. You have to fill up. Otherwise, you help in resentment, and helping in resentment is a shocking energy. So you're actually causing more harm. So there's the reason that the I am comes first before the we are. You have to really, really look at yourself and all the triggers, like start making notes instead of just having this crazy thing going around in your head and worrying about this and that. Get really precise. What is it that's bothering me? and get a journal and write every day and get them out and get precise, because get these wishy-washy things or whatever the thought is, I'm not enough. Well, what's underneath that? Why aren't you enough? Are you comparing yourself to someone? What stories are you telling yourselves? Like, it's really, really important to really unpack it. And if people are triggering you, what is the gift? Everything's a gift. It's always been a gift. And people are triggering you to look at something. You know, what is it about that person that's really bothering me? And look at yourself. Like, what is the mirror there? How are you doing that in your own way? You know,
Yes.
it's really, and it's uncomfortable and it's awful, and you want to escape from it, and you want to go and do anything else. You know, anything else will call you to get you away from sitting in your own space in the uncomfortability of that, of really looking at yourself and owning. There's tons of terms for it, shadow side and all that kind of stuff. All those words kind of get a bit overused, but it's basically just owning all aspects of yourself, where, you know, these amazing human beings. And of course, we hold perceived good, bad, you know, it's all energy. And, you know, if it's, you know, if energy is a destructive thing and it's harming us, and just say it was really, really terrible and we're at breakdown period or something like that, it also means that on the other spectrum of it, there's the polar opposite going on. So you can actually do an alchemy of it, and actually, like, it is a rainbow at the end of the tunnel. So if it's really painful here, it has to be, because it's energy and it's balanced. Think of it like a magnet. You want to come to a middle space. You want to kind of look at things, take the energy off, sit with it, like actually feel the energy and ask, what is the energy trying to tell you? We always go out there and asking other people and getting different healers and stuff like that. No one knows you like you. If you just took the time to listen to yourself and see what wisdom comes up, and keep asking the questions, what is this trying to tell me? Everything's there to serve. And right now, humanity is also being helped. As much as there's a lot of harmful things going on in the world, there's, of course, like I just said, equal opposite things going on to help us expand. And it's very concentrated and quite painful at the moment, but the alchemy can be quite fantastic. So, as I said, write things down, pay attention to triggers, and instead of going, oh, I've been having that bad thing happen again, like, what is that thing telling you? For example, if you have, you know, I have a friend who has, you know, grown children who still depend on her because she's enabled them a lot. And
Yes.
they're constantly pushing her buttons and doing something else. And then they did this, and then they don't appreciate me. And it's like they're trying to tell you to actually self-care for yourself and have boundaries.
Yeah.
So all of them are all doing it in their own way. It's a gift for you. It's not a personal attack. These things aren't personal. Just think of us like all players on a stage. There's an opportunity for every person, especially women, to rise and actually think of yourself first, in a space where you just love yourself, and you deserve, like, for millennia, women have been conditioned to give everything away, put the man first, put the man on the pedestal, kids and everything like that. And then you just diminish, and then there's nothing left for you at all. And so, you know, that's a shocking space to be. So look at things like, you know, if people are pushing your buttons, or, you know, it's usually your boundaries are being pushed, and you start getting resentful. And then after a while you snap like a pressure cooker, because you're pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. So you're creating this, you know, as I said, your own little matrix, your own little prison. And it doesn't have to be that way. And it's so important to do things and actually really remember, because a lot of people don't remember what they even love doing, and start your day with that. You have to start doing things that you love. And if your job is that taxing, you're doing it 5 days a week. Like, for goodness sake, you cannot do things that are actually crushing your soul. You have to do things that are fun. And, you know, remember, you know, cooking, exercise is vital, because that's just a natural endorphin rush. That's just an awesome thing to do. And take time to dress nice. You always feel good when you take some time to actually look nice for yourself, and like, just fill up and, you know, work through what all your challenges are. And then, you know, you do have capacity for other people, but we also have to be mindful of this wounded healer kind of person that actually wants to go out and then fix everyone else.
That's
You know,
me.
who are we to go and do that? Yeah, I'm guilty of it, because we have a beautiful side that's a giver, and we are healing people. But we had a great conversation last night at the dinner table with my friends, and we're just getting that discernment of how you actually navigate that. And what came out of the conversation was, if there's something, if someone comes to you and actually asks, is the number one thing. But something like, you know, the best thing that I could possibly hear would be if someone said, you know what, Kim, there's something really inspiring about you, which has triggered something amazing in me, or it's sparked something in me. And I want to hear more about what you're doing. I want to hear more about you. I want to hear how you do your day and things like that, because I feel when I'm around you, something in me ignites. And that's a good way to kind of, you know, engage with people rather than kind of looking at them and we decide that they're broken. People could be on, well, they are, everyone's on their different journeys. And, you know, I'm all about expanding and being what's possible, you know, with humanity and human potential. And some people are not on that aspiration. They are quite happy to just do what they're doing and live what they consider is an easy kind of, you know, life, and they might be happy in their own way, suffering. And, you know, you could have told them 1,000 times, do this or this, these suggestions, and they stay stuck. You know, sometimes you've got to walk away, because you've also got to look at things and say, is that person or that relationship expanding me or contracting me? Very important. Because if people are plugging in and sucking your energy, that's another one where you're just giving it away. You know, feeding something, as I said, you know, there's those kinds of things. So just kind of, I think a good way is just to pause and try and aim for a middle space is what I've been trying to do, and be just really present and appreciate whatever the day gives you and work with it. Because what you get each day is what, you know, what you need, and just be appreciative of whatever that unfolds for you. And yeah, kind of work with it, dance with it, and whatever person or circumstance comes in, like make the most of it. And as I said, if you really slow down, that is so, so key, because as soon as you speed up, you're at a prey for emotions, and emotions are when you're off center, you know, where they're even elated. Like people mistake, you know, if they think they're depressed or down or whatever, they think, oh, you know, won't make a good decision from here, or I don't want to operate from this space. It's equally as harmful if you make decisions from an elated space. And an example of that is if you're saying yes to people that you actually don't want to hang out with, or that are draining, or a task that someone's asked you to do, or something like that, you immediately do the yes thing because you're feeling all on top of the world. Then later you go, oh, did I really want to do that? No. So pause, you know, and if people ask for something or want to spend time, just say, you know what, I'll get back to you, and have a think. And, you know, for a little while, just say, is that something that I really want to do? Actually check in with yourself, and that's okay. And it's okay to say no. And a lot of times we don't do that. So staying in that middle measured space, slowing down, and then you can actually hear your intuition or whatever, you know, get in touch with yourself, and your days will just flow, and you'll find you'll have more time rather than speeding up and getting all frantic. And then you're seriously on edge, snappy, emotions get in the way, and there's never anything but a reflex in emotions, and emotional space is never, you know, never a place to do anything from, or to react from, or anything like that. So
What
yeah.
I really received from what you were just saying there is like how accurate that is for me. I'm gonna bring it back to my traveling with in New Zealand with my friends, because we were all traveling together 24/7. We slept in a tent almost every night, in the same tent. And it was only a 3-person tent. So if anyone knows tents and camping, when it says a 3-person tent, it can only just fit 3 people. So we
Did you say you had 7 in a 3-person tent?
No, we had three people. No, absolutely not. We would be sleeping on top of each other. So it was me and the 2 other girls, and we drove together because we had a car. So we were in the car together. Then we would sleep in the tent together. We would go travel together. Like I'm not even joking. Like the most amount of time I had away from them was 5 hours through the whole trip, and that was once. Wow. That was only one time. So we were very much like this. And it got to a point where we were starting to, like, as much as it was like amazing and we all did get along really, really well, there was also times of tenseness,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, and I found that like I really didn't want to react or have a conversation when I was in an emotional space, because we are all so close. Like if I was having a conversation and addressing the tension while I was in a very emotional space, I knew that they would also react emotionally, and then it would blow up.
Yes.
And that was the
You
last
just
thing I
join
wanted to
each
do.
other and
Yeah. So I remember, like, this was the first time I've ever said this with a person outside of my family. And like, basically one of the girls, she was asking me like if I had a problem, if we should talk about it. And I was in like the height of an emotional space. And like, I just knew if we talked about it, I would get really angry and blow up. So I literally said to her, like, I'm not really in the emotional headspace right now. And
good.
I put that boundary down, and it was really good because we didn't have that conversation until a time like the next day when we were both like calm, and then it resolved. And it was such a sensitive topic for both of us that if we had it in any other point in time, it would have blown up to a point where, you know,
It could have been irreparable.
yeah, it could have been. I
Yeah.
don't think so, but like it would have been a really
Would have been a bigger
difficult.
hill
You would
to
have had
go.
to undo the damage that was set in
Yeah.
emotions that weren't measured. And that's tricky because
Yes.
then you got the problem and then you add another dimension to the problem that you've got to undo rather than being measured and dealing with one.
Yes. And I think, you know, it was really like, it's taken me years to get to a point where I could say that to someone. And even now, I don't know if, you know, tomorrow comes around and if something happened with a random stranger, if I would be able to like hold that space still. But I don't know, I think practicing that muscle at the beginning of like wanting to move out of an emotional reactional space, I felt like, oh, I didn't want to get out of a reactional space because number one, it was like, no, this has to be addressed now. I have to get this over and done with now. Like
Feel
I didn't,
pressure.
I felt pressure and I didn't want to wait until the time was right. It was like, no, this is like, I have to, they're asking, I have to give them what they want. Like
It's
I
like
can't.
the lies your brain tells you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think once you start exercising the muscle, that rush or that like uncomfortableness eases, and
Yes.
it gets easier and easier and easier. But it's something that you have to come back to and practice, especially if you're someone like me who's non-confrontational, is scared of upsetting someone, very sensitive. Like I literally cringe at night falling asleep sometimes over upsetting people. Like it's a genuine thing for me.
You're having the conversation in your head, so you may as well have it with them because you're creating this
Yeah.
thing. I think too, that's really important point is if you go in with a vulnerability and a realness, people will meet you there. So if you kind of start saying, you know, there is an emotion here and I value our friendship and I love that we can have this communication. This is really challenging for me because it is a sensitive topic, and then start saying, and people will meet you. If you come in and just go, right, someone, they're going to go up and then go like that. If you stay in a vulnerable space, they will meet you, and actually energetically, because you're lower, they'll help you rise, like to get to that medium space, to get to that equilibrium. So it is an energetic thing when people, it's like if people are all, you know, puffy and ego and elated, and you just go, oh, and you just don't want to listen to them. So because they're here and you want to, you know, they're too far puffy. It's the same if you're down, but you're real about it and say, you know what, I value your friendship. I really want to talk, and this is difficult for me, and I appreciate your patience, and I really want to resolve this because, you know, we've been friends for all this time and things like that. They'll just go, oh, wow. And you come from a much better space rather than just going in an emotional thing and doing an attack, because then of course they will attack back, and that's just shocking. And it's a doing that emotional mastery kind of thing is an amazing wisdom, an amazing tool to have. And the more that you do it and people do it, you know, because you're doing this, you can teach then your friend or that friend by experiencing you doing it, go, oh, she didn't, you know, go into a pub and smoke, and we kept our friendship, and, you know, they will learn because you're living this experience, and you're living by example. So good thing to do. Well done.
Yeah. And I think the key to all of that is the willingness, like being willing, like recognizing in yourself that you want to have better relationships, that you want to have a richer, deeper connection with people and with
Yeah.
yourself. And with yourself as well, because how do you have a richer connection with somebody if you haven't got that with yourself? And I think that having that willingness and the you know, probably the knowledge and the patience to look at yourself and to cultivate that connection to yourself and want to give that to other people is so important, because I think Juliet has, like, what she's missing in this conversation is saying, I wanted to resolve this with these girls because I love them so much.
Yeah.
You know, and so wanting that and having the willingness to open your eyes and do it and put the work in.
And you'll connect deeper on another level. Like if you resolve things and work through things, it's not unlike a, you know, a male-female relationship. Instead of running, which is your impulse because you're scared
Yeah.
and afraid, if you come together and actually say to that person, I'm feeling so vulnerable and I'm bleeding out right now, but please, this is really difficult for me and I'm in so much pain and I don't know really how to share this properly, but it means so much if you would listen. Like they'll just go, oh my gosh. And then like then you feel seen and heard. Like that's it. You know, relationships are all about that. If, you know, if you lived in a cave and didn't have any relationships, you wouldn't grow and expand. So being around people and having triggers or things done is an opportunity to connect deeper with people and to expand yourself. And it can only be done in relationships. And, you know, we all are in this, you know, this community together, and we need to strengthen it, because, you know, if we all don't come through this, none will. Like we have to, you know, be this cohesive unit and practice, you know, coming together in ways where we can do effective communication and just connect at a deeper level and grow and nurture our relationships. But again, like you said, what are your boundaries? And you realize, because there was a feeling, okay, something's off. What is that? She took my food, or she, you know, she was just abrupt with me or something. And if you don't address it, they will keep doing it and it'll escalate. And again, it's just one of those opportunities where energy is trying to teach you something and it'll be worse. It's like, you know, an abusive relationship. Like my mother kept, you know, attracting in the same stepfather in a different body until she got the lesson, which she didn't get, of to actually value herself. So the things will keep pushing your buttons until you go, actually, I'm not going to put up with that, or I need to say something, you know. And then you'll soon find out too, if you've been totally real and said what you think, and if the person just goes, nah, and just go, okay, they're on their journey and it's not a personal thing, and now they're freeing up space for someone else to come in.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
true.
relationships come and go and transition, and you know, that's just how things work.
Yeah, because sometimes it can be so hard to recognize when it's time to leave or when it's time to move on. And we get bonded to people in that emotion and in that, you know, the highs and lows. It's like an addiction to that type
Yeah,
of highs and the roller coaster relationship that's
the
constantly.
drama.
Yes.
Human
Yes.
beings are a sucker for drama, and that's the thing about another thing with the Matrix. Whatever you're giving energy away to,
Yes.
drama is a huge one you're giving it to. And, you know, just ask yourself, do I feel when I'm with that person drained or elevated? It's an easy question. And, you know, if you keep seeing them and all they do is have drama, you know, you got to ask yourself, really, is this what I want to do? And you can either have a conversation with them, or, you know, you naturally go your separate ways. And a lot of people fall into the trap of going, oh, well, if I've been friends with them for 20 years, I should. Any
Yeah.
I should catch ups. So anything, I would love to see that person with that kind of thing, rather than, oh, I suppose I should catch up. It's been a while. Like, that's gonna that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy of should is so different to the energy of I want to.
Yes.
The two energies are completely different. And I think a lot, particularly for women too, that I should, that feeling of I should, that guilty kind of like I'm
Yes.
motivated by guilt, that kind of line of thinking and energy is also something that's programmed in from childhood. We grow up
Oh, it
with this
is. such a toxic thing. We talked about that
Yeah.
last night too, and I've just been observing that energy because I love watching and observing things, and then I'm writing a book at the moment about all these different wisdoms I'm coming up with. And I had a friend who was talking about some sexual abuse, and she had she was talking to me about she realized in her mind she was going to be loved. She had to put up with it. And I said, that's a really
Yes.
interesting thing that we tell ourselves. And I said, women have this like programming because we're watching, especially grandmothers and mothers and things like that. Remember, it wasn't that long ago we had obey in vows. Obey, like we're a property of, and we have to be of service to whenever they want to have sex, whenever they want anything. We make sure their food's on. Like we're literally a slave, seriously, a slave person. And not only that, like I was talking about my own childhood, and I said, my mother watched a stepfather literally hit me on the knuckles when I ate, well, if I didn't like what I was eating for dinner, which was pretty shocking most of the time. And so I was sitting there crying my eyes out. He was literally physically and emotionally abusing me. My mother sat next to him, did nothing.
Yeah.
She never did anything. And it's like the same thing. It's like there's something in them that just shuts off, and whatever they do, they can get away with. And now we're looking at it going, it's like we are waking up. Like, again, if part of the matrix thing, we are actually, as women, or all of us, have to wake up, but we have to wake up to that programming. We have to really step back and go, what am I putting up with?
Yeah.
That isn't okay. Like, it feels so wrong, and there shouldn't be. It should be a dance together, and it's it's orchestrated that way, society, to keep people fighting together, to give away our energies, no matter if it's a girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, child, parent kind of thing, mother-in-laws to daughter-in-laws, like all that kind of energy. Look at all of the energies, like it's always a challenge and always like this combative thing. But if people came together, that is a huge power, especially a man and a woman. Like, the powerful part of the last Matrix movie was quite ironic that they were talking about keeping, Neo and Trinity this close, but not this close.
Yes.
So they literally were fueled off them not being together.
Yeah.
And then their true power was actually getting rid of all of these energies that isn't theirs. It's like how I visualize it and what David and I talk about. It's like there's a Tasmanian devil kind of energy here in a relationship. It's like my past, your past comes together. You'll trigger something. Well, that sounds like this and that feels like that from when I was a child. So your essence selves are here. They haven't really met. Like, how would you respond to that if you didn't have those childhood issues? And how would he respond if he didn't have those childhood issues? But it's an opportunity to go, hang on a minute, pan back, look at it and go, we need to heal those things. We're not these little kids anymore. We don't need to be in the survival thing. We need to slow down and look at these triggers and just go, hey, you're not that stepfather. You're not that mother. You're not this or all that. And you've got to just pull away from this literal fuel or the Tasmanian devil thing, and actually go, our essence selves want to meet. And what do you need to do to actually get to your essence space? What work do you need to do on yourself? People make the mistake of going, well, I need to fix him because he's doing this, and I need to fix her, she's doing that. There's a gift in both things here.
Yeah.
Especially in some relationships that are powerful. You can really do some deep triggers, and it's actually a gift going, okay, well, if you're going to react to that, what is it about you that needs to be healed? And look at it that perspective, looking as like an energy. It's not a personal attack of Kim, not a personal attack on David kind of thing. It's an energy that needs to be resolved, and go, okay, where is that coming from? And then go, what's the underneath that? What's that pain underneath that? And then you'll get memories of these different childhood things and different coping mechanisms. They're just behaviors. It's not your essence self, and the behaviors have to stop. And then you can actually have that thing in the end where Neo and Trinity actually did come together, because they stopped this energy that's between a man and a woman. And if a man and a woman, like two halves of a circle thing, oh, sorry, I don't know what that was, come together, and it's a great healing. Like, that is the ultimate lighting a sun, the ultimate power that they don't want, hence the attack on gender, or diminishment even more of women. Like, anything they can to just cause rift between each other to keep us here. and fueling the Tasmanian devil energy kind of thing, and no one being their essence selves. Like, get rid of the stories, get rid of the whatever's triggering you, if it was a religious thing or, you know, the childhood thing, whatever it is, like, look at it and do the work on yourself, spend the time, and it's really, really worth it. And you'll just feel like weight's been lifted off and you will naturally come together. Very
So
powerful.
true. I had
Mm.
something happen yesterday. A friend of mine asked me a question. I was grappling with something, and she asked me a question that led me, I was being triggered, like you're talking about. There was a trigger there, and I wasn't seeing it. I wasn't seeing why I was being triggered. And she asked me a question that led me to understanding in myself that that trigger was coming from my mother in my childhood, and I couldn't see it. It didn't matter how I was trying, I was looking from this angle, from that angle, and I couldn't work it out by myself. And I think that's part of it. When we have good friends in our lives, when we have people who can see something from a different perspective and they communicate that to you and ask you, do you see this? Or can you, you know, what is that feeling that's coming through? And as soon as she asked me the question, I stopped and thought about the answer to that. It came to me, and I realized there was a trigger there from my childhood with my mother. And it was,
I'm sorry, my there's a
yeah, what
speaker
is
that's just
that?
going a bit crazy.
Is that the dog?
No, or is it, there's a speaker in the background. It keeps turning itself on and telling me it's connected. Sorry.
Yeah,
It
so
must
that
play
what
music again. It's used to playing music. It's after 5.
yes,
Sorry,
goes,
back to
Kim,
you
come
talking on
and
the
see
triggering.
me.
Yeah,
Come
it
and
is.
dance with me.
It wants to play.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying, I experienced that exact thing yesterday. And it was when it happened, it was such a relief and it was so joyful. It was such a joyful moment for me because it was like, oh, that thing inside me could be released finally. It was like this pressure valve
Yes.
that just undid itself. And I was like, oh, now I can see where it's coming from. I can deal with that issue. And that issue has been with me for so long. And I
So
was
you got even a
trying
bigger
to,
relief. Yeah, the bigger one that you've had for a long time. You feel that
yes,
one and go, oh my goodness, that's the pressure cooker. The pressure comes out a bit more.
yeah. And it was so beautiful because I was given the opportunity to stop being a victim and stop blaming something outside myself. And when I could see where the trigger was coming from, it was so relieving to me because I have control of that now. I can
Mm-hmm.
make the decision to heal it and to move through it or to ignore it, and which I wouldn't do, but that's a choice. I can ignore it if I want to. And when that power comes back to you through the realization that it's something that you're creating in your own life, it's such a joyful feeling because it's like, oh, I can stop doing that now. I can stop
Yes.
allowing that to have the power over me to keep driving me in these feelings of unworthiness or feelings of anger.
And it
So,
just keeps
yeah,
coming at you. You can't avoid it as much as you think, oh, I'm not going to deal with it today. Okay, well, good luck with that. It's going to come in thicker and harder in
yeah,
another version to make it pay attention. I see it kind of like, you know, if electrical wire, electrical things that go into your house, like the power lines, it's like
yeah.
they've been cut in a storm and they're frazzled and they're just like that. It's just keeps
So
coming
true.
at you and it isn't going anywhere until you do. It wants to integrate, like it's trying to give you a gift, like the energy wants to pass. It's just energy and it's just sitting in you and it wants to integrate. So then, you know, because you can't suppress energy. It can't be. You're just
Yeah,
pushing it down. There's only so much energy you can hold in your little pressure cooker and then you don't want to explode. So you have to give yourself that time and that wisdom. And once, like you just did, you start doing that. It's like you know, you practice that ability and it gets
yeah,
easier and easier. So when things happen, you can just go, okay, and you can do it in a light way. Okay, what's happening here? I see I'm being triggered. Like, what is this perceived annoying person doing, and what is it trying to show me, or where is it that I'm doing something like that I'm not seeing in myself? It's just a good practice to have. And at first it's tricky, but then of course, like anything, it's like working out, it gets easier and you flex the muscle, and you get so in tune with yourself, and just doing it in a slower pace and slowing down does make every difference. Impossible to do, self-work if you're rushing or emotional, as you know. It's just, because you're in reflex thinking, you're in fight or flight, and there's no measuredness in that.
Yeah, you've got no space for whatever it is that's coming in. And what happens with me is I get snappy.
Yeah,
Like
same.
I'll snap like this.
And it could
like
be
Juliet
nothing
knows.
related to anything, but it's the straw that breaks the camel's back, and whoever that person is, God help them, they're getting
Yeah.
unleashed.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so being being responsible enough to see when that's happening, and to go, okay, I need to step back here because I'm snapping now. I need to
Yeah.
take a step back, and I need to calm down, and I need to do like a little bit of a recalibration. And
Yes.
perhaps that's the moment you put your speakers on and have your little dance. Get
Exactly.
the
Just
signal
break
going.
state. Do anything other than where you were. Get out of that environment. Yeah, go for a walk in nature, or just stop, go to a different room, breathe. Anything where you can just allow some measured presence to be in your life, to get back to that middle space, so you can have all true wisdom come to you, rather than being reactive, because reactive is just, you're just moving energy in a destructive way back to that person. It's like a terrible tennis game, and
Yeah,
nothing
because
gets
you
resolved.
can't
And as you said,
always.
you add more trauma to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's another layer of the programming that you're feeding. It's another,
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
Giving your energy away. You just got to keep it within, because you know what happens when you give, because I've been watching, if I give my energy away, I lose my creativity. And women are usually, especially more creative types, just because of the way we're programmed. Of course, there's many creative men, but we stop our gifts, and we need the gifts of women in the world, wherever that's healing, painting, artistic thing, writing, whatever beautiful thing is, growing garden, things like it stops you, and it literally paralyzes you, because you're constantly in this hamster wheel and thinking and giving your energy away, and you lose the beautiful flow of, you could be getting a gift of, what about this creative idea? You stifle everything, and you literally become paralyzed and do nothing. So your whole essence and yourself is shut down. You literally lose yourself.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
That's so, and I've experienced that myself, where, all the creative flow that I was experiencing can just switch off
Yeah.
Yep.
when I'm
It's very
feeling
sensitive.
stressed or pressured.
Yeah. It shuts down so quickly.
I felt that when I was working
Yes.
to save for my travels, it just took everything, all the energy that I had really out of me. And so the only energy that I had left was like energy to rest.
Yeah.
Energy to rest.
Energy to like just not do anything. And that was all that was left over.
And it was too high a price, wasn't it, Juliet?
Um, I think I think I was meant to save. Like it was good that I don't regret saving the way that I did, because it was the only way to do it fast enough for me to go and do the things that I want. But I would never do it again. I will never do it again.
I
You had
love
that
that.
little experience, and you learnt from it, and you could do it in a different way next time.
Yeah, like
Yes.
it gave me what I needed, and which
But
was
at your
money.
sacrifice.
Yeah, but the sacrifice it will never be worth the sacrifice ever again.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
learn smarter ways to
Yeah,
deal with
well,
things.
that's why I'm actually leaving tomorrow to Bali to do yoga teacher training.
Oh,
So
fantastic. That sounds
yeah,
awesome.
I'm really
Yay.
excited.
That's a
So
cool
that's
adventure.
Yeah.
yes. So that will be my new job after this. So
Oh,
I
wow.
will,
How exciting.
yeah. I was like, I'm not ever doing full-time bartending ever again. So, I mean, I would still like to bartend, but I have to have it with yoga teacher training or like with yoga
Yeah,
teaching. I can't just do
Yeah,
that.
you do the
just for one.
balance.
So I'll balance it out, and yeah, it's a really useful skill to have for myself, but then also it's really good for traveling
Mm.
and
how wonderful that you were able to have that experience, because now that experience has given you the fuel that you need, the motivation that you need to go in a different direction.
yeah.
It's like, I know now what I don't want, and I don't want to do that
Yeah.
again. And so that's, fueled you. It's given you the passion and the knowledge now to go somewhere else and do something else with
Yeah.
your life. And I
Yeah.
love that. That's amazing.
Mm.
Yes. I never
That's
do
fantastic.
ever
You're
again.
so
It
happy to
actually,
do what you love doing. You can see all your
Yes.
energy when you talk about the yoga and Bali and things like that. And it's like we have to fill our days with
Yeah.
with our things that are our essence, what our essence is calling for ourselves. And it's so, so vital, because you lose your life force. Again, it's just
yeah.
giving your life force away. You have to nurture the life force, and then the next thing will come up because you've followed that inspiration. And then who knows what's next, who you'll meet, or opportunities
Yeah.
where you can teach it, or you don't even know because you're just open to what the next step is, and because
Yeah.
you followed that inspiration. That's awesome.
Yeah, honestly, it was I must admit, like working the way that I did, feeling like an actual slave, because I mean I was one in a way. Um, I understood humanity a lot better.
Mhm.
Like before I was like, I don't understand why everyone's miserable. I was a child. Like, I never had to work like that before. So I was just like, people suck. Why do people suck so much? Like, I just don't understand people and their ways of being, and why the Matrix is a thing. Like, why are people staying in this space? Like, what are you doing?
And staying miserable.
And staying miserable.
Mm.
Like, what? And
Like they're
even
asleep
though,
to everything.
yeah, and being in that state of working two jobs and just going to work, living to go to work, like that was what I was doing my every day pretty much. And then I was like,
That's
I
why.
get it. I get it now. I
Yeah.
get why people are like this. Like I cannot imagine. I was grateful because I knew doing this job, I could never sustain this for longer than what I did. Like I could not sustain it for longer than I did it for about a year. And I was like, I could never do it longer than this.
And
How are
some
people
people
doing
do.
And some
decades
people
of
do that
this?
forever, and you wonder why there's
Yes.
depression and souls
Yes.
dying and they're just lifeless, because there's no joy, there's no fulfillment of self. It's survival.
Yes.
Yes.
And you're around other people who are doing the same job for the same reason, like, and are in the same space, and you forget yourself. Like, I don't know, it was just huge. It was a huge awareness around why people are the way that they are. And
Mhm.
I
They
was,
shut parts of themselves down so that they can
They have
cope.
to numb themselves to
Yeah.
survive.
yeah.
Yes.
And then that's when they become assholes and,
And
whatever, and
reactive
miserable people.
and
And
just
reactive, which is what we've just been talking about. Yeah.
So honestly, we'll never do that ever again.
but you'll have such insights with people you deal with now, because of course a lot of people do yoga, to actually nurture themselves, because you've seen what happens if you don't do that. So you'll have such insight in your teaching now. It's so different from then reading about it versus you experiencing that.
Yeah.
It'll come from such a genuine space when you teach now, because when you actually live it and then teach things and have those insights from real experiences, it makes such a difference.
I
Yeah.
love that, Kim. That's so true. And
Yeah.
that's such a gift. You know, extracting something so wonderful out of something that was so hard for you,
Yeah.
and giving that through your yoga teaching to other people is like, that's alchemy.
Yeah.
Yep,
I'm
absolutely.
really, I'm really, really excited. I don't know. I'm just, oh, it's gonna be great. I'm just like so excited. Also, um, another thing for anyone watching, jobs like yoga teacher training is really good for traveling. I don't know if there's anyone my age who is wanting to travel, or even not my age and wanting to travel. I've learnt through my travels that if you become a yoga teacher or um, something similar, you can like work at hostels for free, live at hostels for free if you like offer your you know, some classes. Like you have so many options. You can literally get paid and also live for free at a hostel. That's also been a thing that I've witnessed. So it's also just a really good job for traveling and like creates a lot of opportunity. So I just thought to
Fantastic.
speak that for anyone watching who might, you know, need that.
That's a great idea. Good, trust that impulse and put it out there, because you never know. That's a way
Yeah,
to do it. Is ask.
yeah.
Mm.
So
Kim, I'm interested for you to tell me a little bit about the book that you're writing.
yes.
The book that I'm writing. Well, um, it's interesting. I ponder a lot of things, and I study a lot of things, human behavior and what's possible with humanity and human potential. That kind of thing just absolutely floats my boat. Just what I really started to get into the like really get into was trying to understand. I love to understand things. So it's like if you don't understand a situation, how can you do any kind of countermeasures? So I got fascinated, obviously in the last few years about what the hell's going on, but I mainly in the regard of human behavior, things like how are people being manipulated, and really started to unpack it. And as I started to do it, I started to document it and try to understand how we get manipulated, how we get pitted against each other, and basically preying upon the things in humanity that should be like beautiful. So for example, one thing, that I'll mention is, I started to, I'm kind of trying to unpack a lot of things, especially around relationships with people and not just men and women. It's kind of like I'm unpacking what is the divide between, say, a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. Like, why is that, a thing? Like, and why are women, pitted against each other? What is that viciousness that exists there? And I've just been unpacking a lot of it. And as one example is, I really, really delved into the women part, because I've had a lot of that, jealousy and a lot of combativeness and different things and assumptions about me, and the kind of the whole gamut I've lived through, and also had horrific mother-in-laws. And my mother was not good. And I've kind of, yes, as I said before, when you experience it all, you can teach it a lot better and write about it. And fortunately or unfortunately, I've experienced kind of the gamut of all human behavior, good, bad, and the ugly. But as an example, the women part, and I did a lot of research on it, and the main thing was women, you know, compete for resources. Like a woman will compete against another woman for the resources of a man. So of course they're going to try and find the most successful, handsome man in a room. And it's a nature thing. There's nothing wrong with that per se. It's like you want the father to be the strongest, the healthiest. It's not unlike nature, where you search for the penguins try to put their little rocks next to the little woman penguin, and they go, okay, well, I'll take the one that's building the biggest rock nest. And it's kind of how it works. But when it's corrupted, and then there's a competition of scarcity. So as soon as you introduce scarcity into anything, you create then like a war. So
That's
women
literally what it said in The Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah.
That line.
Yeah.
Oh, did it? I must have missed that one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Coming back to the Matrix again. Yeah, so they are competing with each other instead of going, you know what? There's millions of awesome men, millions of awesome women. Don't go against your sister. Sisters, as in, we are all women, sisters and brothers. There's also that thing of don't stab your sister to get something. It can only be bad. Like, just, there's enough to go around for everyone. You've got to stop this scarcity thing or this competitiveness. And we watch it. It's in movies. It's just in, drama-filled things all the time. And it should be a lovely thing where, a man and a woman, come together, and there's an attraction, and there's, you've worked on yourselves, and you come together because you just want to share life together, not to fix anything, not to take something. That's obviously an ideal situation. And then, of course, you've got men against other men with egos, and like, how much stuff can I have and outdo the other one kind of thing. And it's just like so I've just kind of really unpacked the toxic corruption of what should be natural, beautiful things, and how it's got corrupted. And that's why the whole thing is designed to divide us, of course, and to keep that energy going. It's no different from where I said the Tasmanian devil can happen in a relationship of a man and a woman. It can happen with, you know, sisters in one family. Like if there's a competitiveness or a jealousy or anything like that, like we have to see what we're doing to each other. We are creating this toxic world. It's not, oh my God, Anthony Fauci and all these other ones. Yes, they're bad, and there's a lot of, you know, unsavories out there doing stuff, but we've got to actually start with, a lot of people say, what can I do, Kim? What can I do, David? Look at yourself.
Yes.
Where can you lift your game? Where can you be nicer to someone? Where you're judging, oh my God, that woman's doing that. Where are you actually doing it, in what form? Like, where are you rearing your jealous head or trying to tear someone down to make yourself feel better? Like, you know, there's the comparison inspiration part, which is another thing I like writing about, and the discernment between those things. Like the comparison to someone else is so toxic, and usually it's the women thing, and the woman will want to tear the other one down, and or feel inferior or feel less than, and then, you know, kind of shut down and, you know, just have these terrible feelings and then project all these awful things onto the other woman, instead of going, you know what is it about that woman that can inspire me to be better, rather than your comparison, because everyone has their own unique awesomeness and that person has theirs, and you can't be them or exactly like them, but there could be a component about them that you can be inspired about. So it could be going, wow, I love that dress that person's wearing, and they've put jewelry on, and, you know, it's the middle of the day, and wow, they've really gone to a lot of trouble to look nice. I think I could lift my game, and I could get my dresses out, and I could, you know, do my hair nice or stuff like that, and be inspired, because comparison is toxic. It's diminishing. There's nothing good about it. It divides, and it creates the, you know, the energetic thing. Just because you haven't said something to that woman, they feel it energetically. You've sent toxic energy there,
Yeah.
and they're kind of recoiling, and they're probably sending it back and going, well, who, you know, we have to all do better in relationships, and relationships are the key, because they give us an opportunity to really look at ourselves. And so I'm writing a lot about that. Yeah, I'm just just trying to unpack a lot of things, but mainly about, you know, relationship with yourself, with others, and just trying to unravel a lot of lies, and a lot of the way society has programmed us to keep us small and not expanded. And I want to then go, okay, how can we then know what we're dealing with, see all that, and go, oh, so you open your eyes to it, and then you can observe it and observe yourself to start with. And then, you know, you start to be your amazing self, and your essence starts to shine, and then you're like a magnet, and people will go, wow, I want to be more like that person. You'll inspire. And that's how we lift our frequency, and that's how we get out of this, you know, controlled reality. We create then a more beautiful world, but it does have to start with yourself. But there does have to be an understanding of how we got here. And you know, David's brilliant, absolutely brilliant at doing all the stuff on, you know, the historical things of how humanity has been minimized through different, you know, governments and wars and just history, anything. Absolutely brilliant. And I love looking at the people aspect of it, and helping us understand, you know, what's going on, because otherwise you don't know what you're working against. And it's not a battle against that either. It's like going, okay, I see that, I'm not going to participate in that anymore. I'm going to start spreading good news. I'm going to start being a best version of me. Stop gossiping, stop sharing dramas, like start lifting the spirits, have friends over. Like you can do anything, like I did last night, have 4 friends over and have a nice dinner party and chit chat, and allow those people to be really real.
Yeah.
And inspire them, and make sure, you know, do they need help with anything? You know, are they doing what they love doing? Or, you know, I don't know. And then as they're dancing, or go away together for weekends, have dinner parties with other couples, share things, just, yeah, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of, it's going to be called The Art of Being You, because my website's The Art of Being Kim. So if people want to look at my website, it's theartofbeingkim.com, and there's, you know, a few little interesting blogs and different things on there. But yeah, I want to help people actually rise in their frequencies and enjoy life. Like, we have this beautiful planet and we have some amazing people. It's not all doom and gloom. And
Yeah.
get the head talk and that kind of thing out of your head, get the energy out and actually free yourself of all of that and actually meet yourself for the first time, your essence self. And that's where the potency is, because you then a clear space for this unlimited potential. And I know that we are these unlimited potential beings, and we've been told we're not enough, broken, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm smashing all those stories, and I want to see what a full human being at full capacity can do.
I love that. And it's the choice between, I think, well, this has been my experience. It's the choice between constantly doing what you've always done and being on that hamster wheel, or saying, I'm tired of that now. I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to just do what I've always done and be a slave, like a victim to my past and to
Yep.
my programming and to the hurts of the past and things like that. And I want to move in a different direction now. I want something more for myself.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I
New
want
story.
a new story, exactly. And I want to start writing it myself. I want to start acting
Yes.
through the decisions that will push me in a better direction, rather than acting from places of disappointment and hurt and competition and all the things that you were talking about.
Yep.
Because I feel like living your life through that energy it's easy. It's easier because it's not as scary, but it's not joy filled for
Yep.
me. And so if I can switch that way of thinking to, okay, how can I be the captain of my own ship? How can I make
Yes.
decisions that are going
Master
to,
of your domain.
yes, and stop acting out of past hurts and start acting out of moving forward towards something.
Yes.
And
you need
I
to
think,
pause and slow down to do that and catch yourself, and you're never going to be able to make a decision and be instantly good at it. It's like building the muscle, doing weights. You're going to go, oh, I caught myself going down that path. And if it's a thought in your head, write it down. And again, what's underneath it, what's underneath it till you dissolve them. But you're going to observe yourself for a while. It's an observing time and a slowing down time, and it's a practice.
yeah. Oh,
Wow.
so good. So
Wow.
good. I love it.
Good.
I'll be one of the first people to buy your book, Kim.
Oh, excellent. No, I'm
Yes,
enjoying
awesome.
I'm really enjoying doing it. I've never written a book before, so it's a bit of a learning curve, but yeah, I'm keeping it in fun.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
just everything that I have, I'll just go, oh, I'll put that in there, and then I'll make an order in it later on. But at the moment, it's just a constant mind dump of wisdoms that I thought someone would benefit from that, and I'm just putting it in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it's in the spirit of fun. Like, that's
Yeah.
something that's, beautiful. So thank you so much for your time,
Thank
Kim.
you. Wow.
Oh, you're welcome. I've really loved talking to you both. Yeah, and I'd love to catch up with you guys when I'm in Australia next, actually meet.
I would
Yeah,
love that. Yes,
100%.
definitely. If Juliet's here,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
she's a
Off to
jet setter
Bali. Good
now.
luck with everything. I love that you're following your heart and doing this awesome adventure, and I can't wait to see what unfolds. Good for you.
Thank you. I'm excited too. I'm very excited.
We'll
I can
keep
see
everyone
that.
updated with Juliet's travels and
Yes,
what she's up
we all
to.
want to be
Yeah,
updated.
in She's of
Put it
Love.
on
Yeah,
put it on your Facebook site.
yes.
Will do, definitely.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Kim. Mwah.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Lots of love,
Love
you
your
guys.
energy.
Have a beautiful, beautiful day.
You too.
too. Bye.
See you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.